My pregnant girlfriend stole my brand new trainers to give her brothers as Christmas presents, and when I confronted her with proof, she threatened to keep me off the birth certificate and block all access to my child. I kicked her out and had to fight in court just to see my own son. My ex-girlfriend Ashley, 29F, is currently 16 weeks pregnant with what is supposedly my child. I, 32M, need to write this all down because people keep telling me I'm being too harsh, but I don't think they understand the full picture. Ashley and I met through mutual friends at a pub quiz night. She worked in retail management and I work in tech sales. Things moved pretty fast between us. About 7 months into dating, she suggested moving in together. I own a flat in a decent area of Manchester that I bought a few years back when property prices were better. It's a 2-bedroom place with good space and I've worked hard to make it nice. When we first discussed her moving in, Ashley insisted on paying her share. She was very firm about it actually. She kept saying she didn't want to be a freeloader and that she valued her independence. I suggested we do a proportional split based on our income since I earn about 4.5 times what she does. We settled on her paying £550 per month, which would cover her portion of the mortgage, council tax, utilities and everything else. It seemed fair to both of us. She paid the first month without any issues. Then about 3 weeks into the second month, I noticed she seemed stressed whenever bills came up. I asked her directly what was going on and she broke down. She told me she had significant credit card debt and a couple of personal loans she'd been struggling with for years. The monthly payments were eating up most of her income and she was barely getting by. She said she'd been too embarrassed to tell me before. I sat down with her and we went through her finances properly. The debt was worse than I'd thought. She owed close to £8,000 across multiple cards and loans. I offered to let her live rent-free until she could pay off the debt. My thinking was that if she put that £550 toward debt repayment every month instead of rent, she could clear it in roughly 14 months, maybe sooner with her bonuses. She cried and thanked me repeatedly. She promised she would stick to a strict budget and get everything sorted. For the first couple of months, things seemed okay. She was making her debt payments and contributing to groceries here and there. Then small things started happening that should have been warning signs. About 4 months into living together, we'd planned to go to my cousin's engagement party on a Saturday afternoon. The morning of the party, Ashley told me she couldn't go because her younger sister Donna needed picking up from university. Donna's car had broken down apparently and Ashley was the only one who could help. I was confused because Donna's university was 2 hours away and we'd already RSVP'd to this party. I asked why Donna couldn't take a train or why one of their parents couldn't help. Ashley got defensive and said family comes first. She canceled on the party and drove off to get Donna. I went to the party alone and had to make excuses about why she wasn't there. When she got back that evening, I asked her why this had been such an emergency that it couldn't wait until Sunday. She brushed it off and said I was making a big deal out of nothing. We didn't really speak properly for a few days after that. Then nearly a week later, she came to me and apologized. She admitted she'd overreacted and should have communicated better. She said she gets very protective of her family and sometimes doesn't think straight. I accepted the apology and we moved past it. Around the 6-month mark of living together, she told me she was pregnant. We hadn't been trying but we'd been careless a few times. I'll admit I panicked initially but then started coming around to the idea. We talked about what this meant for us and for our future. I told her the rent-free arrangement could continue even after the baby came so she could focus on preparing financially for parenthood. She seemed grateful. Things were mostly stable until Christmas. We'd both agreed to spend Christmas Day with my family and Boxing Day with hers. On Christmas Eve, we were both home wrapping presents. I bought gifts for various family members and had left them in bags in our bedroom. I also had some new clothes and trainers I'd bought myself during Black Friday sales. I keep most of my clothes in the spare bedroom, which I use as a walk-in wardrobe situation. There's a lot of storage space in there and Ashley occasionally goes in to use the full-length mirror when getting ready. That evening, I went into the spare room to grab a jumper and immediately noticed things had been moved around. My clothes weren't where I'd left them. Some of the shopping bags from my recent purchases were in different positions. One bag that had contained a pair of Nike trainers I'd bought for myself was now on a different shelf. I didn't think too much of it at first. I assumed Ashley had been in there organizing or looking for wrapping paper. But something felt off. Ashley had been in the room earlier supposedly wrapping presents, but all the wrapping paper and supplies were kept in the living room. There was no reason for her to be moving my clothes around. And then I remembered a conversation from a few weeks earlier. She'd mentioned her 2 younger brothers, Mark and James, and how they were both into streetwear and trainers. She'd seemed a bit stressed about Christmas shopping for them. I hate admitting this, but I checked her Facebook Messenger. I know it was wrong and a violation of privacy. But given her financial situation, I had a bad feeling. What I found confirmed my suspicions. There were messages between her and her mother from earlier that day. Ashley had taken photos of my trainers, still in the box, and sent them to her mom. She'd also taken photos of a couple of my new shirts that still had the tags on. The messages showed Ashley asking her mom whether Mark and James were the same size as me. Her mom replied asking what the items were for, and Ashley said she was planning to give them to her brothers for Christmas. Her mom asked if I'd be okay with that, and Ashley replied that I had plenty of clothes and wouldn't miss a few things. She specifically said she would wrap them up and give them as if she'd bought them herself. I sat there staring at my phone trying to process what I was seeing. My own girlfriend was planning to steal my belongings to give as presents to her family. I scrolled through more messages and found her asking her mom what sizes her brothers wore. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing. She'd been planning it. I went downstairs where Ashley was watching television. I asked her directly why she'd been in the spare room moving my clothes around. She looked startled but recovered quickly. She said she'd been looking for the tape measure because she needed to measure something for a present. I asked why my new trainers had been moved. She said she'd accidentally knocked the bag over while reaching for something else. I told her I knew what she'd been planning. Her face went white. Then she tried to backtrack. She said her mom had been asking what size I wore because her mom wanted to buy me trainers as a Christmas present. I pulled up the screenshots I'd taken of the messages on my own phone. I showed her the part where she said she would wrap them up. I showed her the part where she was asking about her brother's sizes. Her whole demeanor changed. She started crying and admitted she'd thought about giving them away but claimed she'd changed her mind before I'd caught her. She swore she hadn't actually taken anything yet. I asked her how I was supposed to believe that when I'd found concrete evidence of her planning to steal from me. She kept crying and saying she was just stressed about money and didn't know what else to do. I told her I needed to see proof that she'd actually bought her brother's Christmas presents herself. I wanted to see receipts or bank statements showing the purchases. She refused. She said I was being controlling and that she'd show me in her own time. I said that wasn't good enough. If she couldn't prove she'd bought those presents, then I had to assume she'd stolen from me to get them. She called me pathetic. She said I was making a huge deal out of nothing and that she deserved better treatment. I told her to pack a bag and stay with her family for a few days until we could both calm down. She refused at first, then started throwing things in a bag while crying. She left that evening and went to her sister Donna's flat. Over the next few days, she sent me multiple messages. Most of them were about how I was overreacting and being cruel. Then she sent one that really got to me. She said she'd canceled her 16-week scan appointment because of the stress I'd caused. She said she was going to stay with Donna indefinitely and that I'd driven her away. She said she was free to do whatever she wanted now. I responded saying we needed to talk about the baby and how we'd handle things going forward. She called me and we had a massive argument. I mentioned that I'd want a paternity test after the baby was born just to be sure. She absolutely lost it. She said if I didn't trust that the baby was mine, then she'd refuse to consent to any test. She said she'd keep me off the birth certificate and I'd never have access to the child. She said I'd have to take her to court and even then she'd make it as difficult as possible. After that call, I went back and checked the security camera I have in the living room. I'd originally installed it to keep an eye on my dog when I'm at work. The camera has a view of the stairs leading up to the bedrooms. I scrubbed through the footage from Christmas Eve. Sure enough, there was clear footage of Ashley going upstairs multiple times and coming back down with wrapped presents. 3 presents in total. The timestamp showed this was after she'd sent those messages to her mom. I sent her the video footage. She watched it and then claimed it wasn't what it looked like. She said she'd wrapped up presents she'd bought for her brothers and was keeping them upstairs to hide them from me because she wanted to surprise me by showing she'd handled Christmas herself. It made no sense. The whole story was falling apart. We went back and forth over text for a few more days. Then she asked to come back and talk properly. I agreed. She came over and we sat down. She admitted she'd made a mistake and gotten desperate about money. She said her family had been pressuring her about Christmas and she'd panicked. She promised it would never happen again. But then she told me something that explained a lot. Her mom and both her sisters had been asking her for money constantly. Every payday, one of them would message asking for £50 here or £100 there. They'd promised to pay her back but never did. Her mom alone owed her over £5,000 that she'd borrowed over the past 3 years. Her sister Donna owed her about £1,200. Her other sister owed a few £100s. Ashley said she couldn't say no to them. They'd guilt trip her by saying they were family and family helps each other. But none of them ever paid her back. This was why she had so much debt. She'd been taking out loans and using credit cards to help her family, and then she was left paying the interest and charges. I asked her why she'd never told me this before. She said she was embarrassed. I told her that from now on, she needed to stop lending money to her family. She needed to focus on our baby and our future. She agreed. A few days later, I needed to check something on our joint Netflix account. Her laptop was open on the coffee table. I know I shouldn't have, but I looked at her browser history. What I found was shocking. She'd spent £280 on online gambling sites in a single evening. The timestamp showed it was all within about 25 minutes. She'd lost it all. This was while she was supposedly living rent-free to pay off debt. I'd been covering all our living expenses so she could focus on getting financially stable. And she was gambling away hundreds of pounds in minutes. I checked our food shopping expenses and realized she'd barely been contributing to groceries either. Meanwhile, I'd seen multiple Starbucks charges on her bank notifications that popped up on her phone. I confronted her about the gambling. She admitted it and said it was a one-time thing. She said she'd been stressed and made a mistake. I told her that things needed to change. 9 months of rent-free living was ending. She was now in month 10. I told her she needed to start paying the £550 per month as we'd originally agreed. If she had money for gambling and daily coffee runs, she could contribute to the household. She got defensive. She said she couldn't just start paying immediately. She said she needed time to budget. I told her that starting from the next month, the 1st of February, she'd need to start paying her share. She said she'd try. The 1st of February came. She told me she couldn't pay. When I asked why, she said she'd spent too much on food and coffee throughout January and had come up short. She said she didn't understand why I needed the money anyway since I'd let her live free for 9 months. She made it sound like I was being unreasonable. I asked to see her bank statement so we could figure out where her money was going. She refused. She called me controlling and said her money was her business. I told her that if she was living in my flat and eating my food, then it absolutely was my business. She called me names and said she was going to her sister's place again. She left and I spent the next few days thinking about what to do. She was now 4 months pregnant. I didn't want to abandon my child, but I also couldn't keep supporting someone who was lying to me and stealing from me. She kept sending messages saying I was throwing her onto the streets. She said I was abandoning my baby. After about a week apart, I messaged her saying we needed to try one more time for the sake of the child. She agreed to come back. I laid out very clear terms. She needed to be completely open about money. She needed to start contributing the £550 monthly. She needed to stop taking on new debt. And I wanted to see her bank statements because I genuinely believed she had a gambling problem that needed addressing. She agreed to everything. She moved back in. She was now starting month 11 of living with me. For about 3 days, things seemed okay. Then her phone lit up with a notification while she was in the shower. It was a text message saying her loan application had been approved by a payday lender. She just needed to click to accept the money. When she came out, I asked her about it. She broke down crying again. She said she'd run out of money and had applied for a short-term loan to get through to payday. I reminded her she'd promised no more debt. She said she had no choice. I asked how much the loan was for. She said £400. I asked what she needed £400 for when she was living rent-free. She said food and expenses. But I'd been paying for all the food shopping. I asked to see her bank statements like she'd agreed. She refused. She said I was being controlling again. I asked her a direct question. I said if our baby was crying because it was hungry and needed formula, what would she do if she had no money? She looked at me and said that I'd have to pay for it. She said it so matter-of-factly. Like it was just assumed I'd cover everything forever. I asked to see her Facebook Messenger to see the conversations with her family about money. She'd told me they were constantly asking her for loans. But when I looked, all the message threads with her mum and sisters were completely cleared out. She said she'd deleted them to keep her phone tidy. It was too convenient. I told her we were done. She didn't argue this time. She just called me a controlling freak and started packing. Within an hour, she was gone. She's been messaging me constantly ever since, mostly insults and accusations. The only messages I respond to are ones about the baby. I've already spoken to a solicitor about getting a court-ordered paternity test when the baby is born. If the child is mine, I'll fight for proper custody or at least access. I refuse to let a child be raised in that environment where people steal from family and manipulate each other constantly. The solicitor said I have a strong case given the documented evidence of theft and her threats to keep me from the child. About a week after she moved out for good, I realized something else. Back in January, I'd sold an old sofa to Ashley's mum. I was getting new furniture and her mum said she wanted it. We agreed on £200. She paid me £100 in cash when she picked it up and said she'd pay the other £100 within a week. That was 3 months ago now. I'd been asking Ashley about the outstanding £100 and she kept saying her mum would pay soon. After we broke up, I messaged Ashley's mum directly asking about it. She replied saying the sofa had broken after a week and she wouldn't be paying the rest. She said I could come collect the sofa if I wanted my money back. I drove to their house in Stockport. When I got there, Ashley answered the door and wouldn't let me in. She said I wasn't welcome there. I noticed the cash her mum had paid me was all in £10 notes. I'd left those notes in a drawer in my bedroom along with about £300 more that my grandmother had given me for Christmas. When I'd looked for that money a few weeks earlier, it was gone. I'd assumed I'd misplaced it or spent it and forgotten. But seeing those same denominations of £10 notes in the payment from Ashley's mum made me realize what had happened. I asked Ashley directly if she'd taken cash from my drawer. She got defensive immediately and said I was accusing her without proof. I said the timing and the denominations matched up too perfectly. She told me that even if she had taken it, which she wasn't admitting, she didn't care about me anymore anyway, so she didn't need to explain herself. That was all the confirmation I needed. I told her to stay out of my life except for anything baby related. She slammed the door. I drove home and felt nothing but relief. No sadness. No regret. Just relief that it was finally over. The baby is due in August. I'll wait for the birth and then pursue the paternity test through legal channels. If it's my child, I'll do whatever it takes to be in their life properly. But Ashley and her family are out of my life for good. Update 1. It's been about 8 weeks since I posted originally. Ashley is now 24 weeks pregnant and showing quite a lot. People have been messaging asking for an update, so here it is. After I kicked her out the final time, she stayed with her sister Donna. I only responded to messages that were directly about medical appointments or the baby's health. She tried to engage me in arguments multiple times, but I just ignored those messages. She called me cold and heartless for only caring about the baby and not about her. About 3 weeks after the breakup, she messaged saying she had a scan appointment and asked if I wanted to come. I said yes because I wanted to be involved with the pregnancy even though we weren't together. I met her at the hospital. She was with Donna. The appointment went fine. The baby looked healthy on the scan. The sonographer asked if we wanted to know the gender. Ashley said no. I said I did. We argued about it right there in the room. Eventually, the sonographer said she couldn't tell us unless we both agreed. So I still don't know. After the appointment, I tried to talk to Ashley about logistics. I wanted to discuss things like where she'd be living when the baby came, whether she'd need financial support for baby items, and how we'd handle custody once the baby was born. She refused to discuss any of it. She said I'd made my choice by kicking her out and now I'd have to wait and see what she decided to do. I spoke to my solicitor again. He advised me to document everything and keep all communication in writing. He said I should offer financial support for the baby and keep records of that offer, even if she refused. That way it would show I'd attempted to be responsible. So I sent her a formal message offering to pay for half of all baby-related expenses like the pram, cot, clothes, and anything else needed. She read the message but didn't reply for 4 days. Then she just said she'd let me know. Around week 20 of the pregnancy, my mum called me. She said Ashley had contacted her on Facebook. My mum and Ashley had met a few times during our relationship and had gotten along fine. Ashley had sent my mum a long message explaining her version of events. According to Ashley, I'd thrown her out because she'd borrowed a pair of my trainers without asking. She made it sound like I'd completely overreacted to a small mistake. My mum was confused because that didn't match what I'd told her. I sent my mum the screenshots of the Facebook messages where Ashley planned to steal my things. I sent her the security camera footage showing Ashley taking wrapped presents downstairs. I explained the financial situation and the gambling. My mum was shocked. She said she'd respond to Ashley politely but wouldn't be engaging further. Ashley then started contacting other members of my family. She messaged my sister. She messaged my cousin whose engagement party she'd skipped. She was telling everyone her version where I was controlling and abusive and had kicked out a pregnant woman over nothing. My sister called me upset because she'd believed Ashley initially. I had to go through everything again with her. I realized Ashley was trying to turn my family against me. She was playing the victim and hoping they'd pressure me to take her back or at least support her. My solicitor said this was actually good for my case. It showed a pattern of manipulation that would be relevant if we ended up in family court over custody. Then something happened that changed everything. About 5 weeks ago, I got a message from someone I didn't know. A woman named Lauren. She said she needed to talk to me about Ashley. I was suspicious it was one of Ashley's friends trying to get information, so I asked what it was about. Lauren said she'd prefer to talk in person or on the phone. We arranged a phone call. Lauren explained that she'd been in a relationship with Ashley's brother Mark for about a year. She'd recently broken up with him because of his family. She said Ashley's whole family operated the same way. They borrowed money from everyone and never paid it back. They guilt-tripped their partners and friends. They had no boundaries. Lauren said that during her relationship with Mark, she'd lent him over £2,000. He'd borrowed it in increments, always with some emergency excuse. She'd never seen a penny back. She'd also lent money to Ashley once. About £300. Ashley had never paid her back either. Lauren said she'd tried to be understanding because she knew Ashley was struggling, but then Mark told her that Ashley had spent £500 on scratch cards one weekend. That was when Lauren realized Ashley had a serious gambling problem. Lauren said she'd broken up with Mark 2 weeks earlier. She'd demanded her money back and he'd told her to take him to court if she wanted it. She said she was telling me all this because Mark had mentioned that Ashley was pregnant and trying to get back together with the baby's father. Lauren said she felt I deserved to know what kind of family I was dealing with. I thanked her for the information. I asked if she'd be willing to provide a statement about the loans and the gambling if it came to a custody case. She said she would. She said she wanted to help because she'd seen how manipulative that family could be. After talking to Lauren, I felt more certain I was doing the right thing. But then my mom called me again. She said she felt terrible for me but also worried about the baby. She asked what would happen if the baby was born and I got partial custody but Ashley couldn't afford basic things like nappies or formula. She said the baby would suffer because of the situation. I told my mom I'd already offered to pay for baby expenses. My mom suggested I just give Ashley a regular amount of money each month for the baby, starting before the birth. She said it would show good faith and also ensure Ashley could actually prepare properly. I thought about it and agreed it made sense. I messaged Ashley offering to give her £300 per month starting immediately to help with pregnancy costs and preparing for the baby. I said she didn't need to provide receipts or explain what she spent it on. I just wanted to help make sure she had what she needed. She replied within an hour accepting. She said she'd send me her bank details. I set up a standing order to transfer £300 on the first of each month. The first payment went through in April. I have records of all the payments. My solicitor said this was good because it showed I was financially supporting the child even before birth. A few days after the first payment, I got a message from Donna. She said Ashley had told her about the money and Donna was impressed that I was stepping up. Donna said she thought I'd been too harsh on Ashley but that she respected me trying to do right by the baby. She asked if we could talk. I called Donna. She said she wanted to explain some things about Ashley's situation. She said their mom had been financially abusive to Ashley for years. Their dad left when they were young and their mom had always relied on Ashley as the oldest daughter. Their mom would make Ashley feel guilty constantly. Donna admitted she and their other sister had also borrowed money from Ashley without paying it back. Donna said she felt bad about it now. She said she'd seen how stressed Ashley was and how she'd turned to gambling as a way to cope. Donna asked if there was any chance I'd consider couples counseling or trying again. I said no. I explained that it wasn't just about the money. It was about the lying, the stealing, and the threats to keep me from my child. Donna said she understood but seemed disappointed. The next monthly payment went through in May. About a week later, I got a notification that Ashley had tagged me in a Facebook post. I don't use Facebook much but I logged in to check. She'd posted a photo of a nursery she was setting up at Donna's flat. She'd bought a cot, a changing table, and a bunch of baby clothes. She'd tagged me and written that she was so grateful for the support I was providing and that our baby would have everything they needed. It felt performative. Like she was trying to show everyone that I was helping her and painting herself as grateful. But it also annoyed me because I'd given her that money only weeks earlier. She'd spent it all already on furniture. What was she going to do when the baby actually arrived and needed day-to-day things? I didn't comment on the post. But several people from my family saw it and messaged me. My aunt said she was glad I was being responsible. My cousin said the nursery looked nice. It felt like Ashley was controlling the narrative again by making these public displays. Then last week, something else happened. I got a call from an unknown number. It was Ashley's mom. She said she wanted to apologize about the sofa situation and about the £100 she still owed me. She said she'd pay me back. I was immediately suspicious. I asked why she was suddenly willing to pay after months of refusing. She said Ashley had told her everything about our situation and she realized she'd been unfair. She said she'd transfer the £100 to me. I said I'd believe it when I saw it. She said she'd also like to meet me for coffee to talk about the baby and how we could all work together as a family after the birth. I told her I'd think about it. After we hung up, I immediately called my solicitor. He said to be very careful. He said her sudden change in behavior was likely strategic. She might be trying to get me to say or do something that Ashley could use against me in court. He advised me not to meet her alone and to keep any communication in writing. I messaged Ashley's mum saying I'd prefer to keep things in writing for now. She never replied. The £100 was never transferred. It confirmed what my solicitor suspected. She'd been trying to manipulate the situation. Ashley is now 24 weeks along. The baby is due at the end of August. I'm preparing myself for what's going to be a complicated situation. I've saved all the evidence of payments I've made. I've documented every interaction. When the baby is born, I'll immediately file for a paternity test through the courts. If the child is mine, I'll fight for proper custody arrangements. I've also started preparing my flat for having a baby part-time. I've cleared out the spare room that I was using as a wardrobe. I've started looking at cots and baby equipment. My sister has offered to help me learn about caring for a newborn. My mum has said she'll be there to support me. People keep telling me I'm being too harsh on Ashley or that I should try to make it work for the baby's sake. But I can't be with someone I don't trust. I can't be with someone who steals from me and threatens to keep me from my child. The best thing I can do for this baby is be a stable, reliable parent, even if that means being a single parent. Update 2. The baby was born 3 weeks ago. A boy. Ashley went into labor early at 37 weeks. Donna messaged me at 3 a.m. saying Ashley was at the hospital and it was happening fast. I drove straight there. I arrived at 4:30 a.m. Ashley was already in active labor. They let me in the room. Ashley was in a lot of pain and wasn't really talking. Donna was with her. The next few hours were intense. The baby was born at 6:47 a.m. 6 pounds, 2 ounces. They placed him on Ashley's chest and she cried. I stood there looking at this tiny person and didn't know what to feel. They asked what we were naming him. Ashley said Oliver. I hadn't been consulted about names but I didn't argue in that moment. They asked about the birth certificate. Ashley said she wanted to wait to fill it out. The midwife said that was fine but they'd need it done before leaving the hospital. After a few hours, Ashley was moved to a recovery room. Donna went home to get some rest. I stayed. Ashley asked if I wanted to hold him. I said yes. She handed him to me. He was so small. I sat there holding this baby and thinking about everything that had led to this moment. Ashley was exhausted. She fell asleep. A nurse came in to check on the baby. She asked if I was dad. I said I was. She asked if everything was okay between us because she'd sensed tension. I said we weren't together anymore but we were working out arrangements. She nodded and said that was common enough. When Ashley woke up, she asked me to go get her some food from the cafe downstairs. When I came back, she was on her phone. She quickly put it away. I gave her the food. We sat in awkward silence. Then she said we needed to talk about the birth certificate. She said she was planning to put my name on it but only if I agreed to certain conditions. I asked what conditions. She said I could only see Oliver if I came to her place. She said she wasn't comfortable with him going to my flat until he was older. She said I'd need to give her advance notice of at least 3 days before any visit. She said she wanted me to continue the £300 monthly payments but increase it to £500. I said no to all of that. I said we'd need to set up proper arrangements through a legal process. She said if I was going to be difficult, then she wouldn't put my name on the birth certificate at all. She said I'd have to take her to court to prove paternity and that would take months. She said I'd miss out on the first months of Oliver's life. I left the hospital. I called my solicitor on the way home. He said what she was doing was exactly why we'd prepared. He said I should send her a formal message stating that I wanted my name on the birth certificate and that I was requesting a paternity test to establish my rights legally. He said not to let her use the birth certificate as leverage. I sent Ashley a message laying out what my solicitor advised. She replied calling me heartless for turning the birth of our son into a legal matter. She said she was just trying to protect Oliver. I didn't respond. Ashley and Oliver were discharged from the hospital 2 days later. She never filled out the birth certificate. She went back to Donna's flat. I messaged asking when I could visit Oliver. She said she needed a few weeks to settle in first. I said that wasn't acceptable. She stopped replying. I filed court papers requesting a paternity test and establishing my parental rights. The solicitor said it would take a few weeks to get a court date. In the meantime, I had no legal standing to demand access to Oliver because I wasn't on the birth certificate. A week after the birth, my mum went to visit Ashley and Oliver. My mum had messaged Ashley asking if she could meet her grandson and Ashley agreed. My mum came back and showed me photos. Oliver looked healthy. My mum said Ashley seemed overwhelmed. The flat was messy. Donna was at work most of the day, so Ashley was alone with the baby a lot. My mom asked Ashley if I could come visit. Ashley said no. She said I'd made my choice by taking legal action and now I had to wait for the courts to decide. My mom tried to reason with her, but Ashley wouldn't budge. 2 weeks after the birth, I got a court date. It was set for 5 weeks away. The judge would order a paternity test and then, based on those results, establish custody arrangements. My solicitor said to be patient. He said we had a strong case. Then yesterday, something happened. I got a message from Donna. She said she needed to talk to me urgently. We arranged a call. Donna said Ashley was struggling badly. She said Ashley wasn't sleeping. She was barely eating. She was crying all the time. Donna said she was worried Ashley had postnatal depression, but Ashley refused to see a doctor. Donna said that Oliver had been crying a lot because he had colic. Ashley didn't know how to soothe him. Donna was trying to help, but she at work. Donna said the flat was getting worse. Dishes were piling up. Laundry wasn't being done. Ashley was just sitting on the sofa holding Oliver and crying. I asked what Donna wanted me to do. Donna said she thought Ashley needed more support. She asked if I could come over and help with Oliver even if Ashley didn't want me there. She said Ashley might refuse at first, but Donna could let me in. I said I didn't want to go somewhere I wasn't welcome. Donna said she understood, but that Oliver needed a parent who was coping. She said Ashley wasn't coping. She said I needed to step up whether Ashley liked it or not. I told Donna I'd think about it. I called my solicitor. I explained the situation. He said I should not go to the flat without Ashley's explicit permission. He said if I showed up without consent, Ashley could claim harassment. He said it could hurt our court case. He said the best thing to do was to document Donna's concerns and present them to the judge as evidence that Ashley wasn't able to care for Oliver properly. I felt stuck. On one hand, Donna was saying my son needed help. On the other hand, showing up could make everything worse legally. I messaged Donna back explaining my solicitor's advice. Donna said she understood, but that she was really worried. This morning, I woke up to multiple missed calls from Donna. I called her back. She was crying. She said Ashley had fallen asleep while holding Oliver on the sofa last night. Oliver had rolled off and fallen onto the floor. He'd hit his head. Donna had been there and immediately grabbed him. They'd rushed to A&E. Oliver was okay. Just a small bruise. But Donna said she'd never been so terrified. Donna said she'd told Ashley that she couldn't keep living like this. Donna said Ashley needed to either accept help from me or move back in with their mom. Ashley had refused both options. Donna said she couldn't keep taking care of both Ashley and Oliver while working full-time. She said something had to change. I asked if I could see Oliver to make sure he was okay. Donna said yes. She said Ashley was asleep and she'd bring Oliver to a cafe near my flat. An hour later, Donna arrived with Oliver in his pram. I held him and checked him over. He had a small bruise on his forehead but otherwise seemed fine. He was awake and looking around. Donna said she didn't know what to do anymore. She said Ashley was refusing all help. She said their mom had offered to let Ashley move back home, but Ashley said she couldn't live with their mom again. Donna said she couldn't have Ashley and Oliver living with her long term because her flat was too small and she couldn't handle the stress. I told Donna I had a spare room set up for Oliver. I said he could stay with me part-time. Donna said Ashley would never agree. I said then we'd have to wait for the court date. Donna asked if I could take Oliver for a few hours today just to give Ashley a break. I said yes immediately. Donna handed me a bag with nappies and formula. She said she'd tell Ashley I'd taken him and that Ashley could message me when she wanted him back. I took Oliver back to my flat. I fed him and changed him. He fell asleep in my arms. I sat there holding him and thinking about how messed up this whole situation was. This baby deserved better than two parents who couldn't communicate. But I also knew I couldn't force Ashley to be reasonable. 3 hours later, I got a message from Ashley. She demanded to know where Oliver was. I replied that Donna had agreed to let me have him for a few hours and that he was safe and sleeping. She called me screaming. She said I'd kidnapped her son. She said she was calling the police. I stayed calm and explained that Donna had brought him to me and that I had everything he needed. She hung up. 10 minutes later, Ashley and Donna both arrived at my flat. Ashley was hysterical. She demanded Oliver back immediately. I brought him to the door. He was still sleeping. Ashley grabbed him and checked him over. She was crying. She said I had no right to take him. Donna tried to calm her down. She explained that she'd asked me to take him to give Ashley a break. Ashley turned on Donna and said she'd betrayed her. Donna looked exhausted. She said she was trying to help. Ashley said she didn't need help from either of us and left with Oliver. I messaged my solicitor explaining what happened. He said to document everything. He said Ashley's behavior would be relevant in court. He said it showed she was unstable and not acting in Oliver's best interests. Now I'm just waiting for the court date. 3 more weeks. I check my phone constantly hoping for updates about Oliver. I've sent Ashley messages asking about him but she doesn't reply. My mum visits when Ashley allows it and sends me photos. I never imagined becoming a father would be like this. I thought it would be stressful but exciting. Instead, it's just stressful. I'm fighting to be in my son's life while his mother does everything possible to keep me out. All I can do is wait for the court to make this official. Update 3. The court hearing was 2 weeks ago. I'm writing this final update now that things have been settled legally. The judge ordered a paternity test first thing. The results came back within days. Oliver is mine. That was never really in doubt, but having it confirmed officially changed everything. Once paternity was established, the judge heard arguments from both sides about custody. My solicitor presented all the evidence. The messages showing Ashley's threats to keep me from Oliver. The documentation of the financial support I'd provided during pregnancy. The statements from Donna about Ashley's current mental state and the incident where Oliver fell. My solicitor also mentioned the theft and lying during our relationship as evidence of Ashley's character. Ashley's solicitor tried to paint me as controlling and claimed I'd thrown Ashley out while pregnant. But when my solicitor showed the Facebook messages about stealing my belongings and the security footage, that argument fell apart quickly. The judge looked unimpressed with Ashley. The judge asked Ashley directly about her current living situation and support system. Ashley admitted she was living in Donna's 1-bedroom flat and that Donna was supporting her financially beyond my monthly payments. The judge asked if Ashley was working. She said no. The judge asked if she planned to return to work. Ashley said not until Oliver was older, but she had no timeline. The judge asked me about my living situation. I explained I had a 2-bedroom flat, a stable job, and family support nearby. I said I'd already prepared a room for Oliver with everything he'd need. I said I was willing to have him overnight multiple times per week. The judge then surprised both of us. She said that given Oliver's age being only 1 month old, she'd usually favor the mother for primary custody with the father having regular visits. But given Ashley's current unstable housing situation and her refusal to cooperate with co-parenting, the judge said she was concerned about Oliver's welfare. The judge ordered a shared custody arrangement. Oliver would spend 4 nights per week with me and 3 nights with Ashley. The judge said this would be reviewed in 3 months to see how everyone was coping. The judge also ordered Ashley to register me on the birth certificate immediately. Ashley's solicitor objected, saying Ashley was breastfeeding and couldn't be separated from Oliver for 4 days. The judge asked if Ashley was exclusively breastfeeding. Ashley admitted she was combination feeding with formula. The judge said that if Ashley had concerns about breastfeeding, she could express milk for the days Oliver was with me. The judge said both parents had equal rights and that Oliver needed both of us in his life consistently. Ashley started crying in the courtroom. Her solicitor asked for the arrangement to be phased in gradually. The judge agreed to start with 2 nights per week with me for the first month, then increase to 3 nights, then 4 nights by month 3. The judge also addressed the financial aspect. She ordered me to pay £400 per month in child maintenance based on my income and the shared custody split. I'd already been paying £300, so this was only a small increase. The judge noted that Ashley would need to demonstrate she was seeking employment within the next 6 months. After court, Ashley wouldn't look at me. Donna came up and apologized. She said she hadn't wanted it to come to this, but she thought the judge's decision was fair. Donna said she'd help with the transitions between households to make it easier for Oliver. The first night Oliver stayed with me was 5 days after the court hearing. Donna brought him over at 6 p.m. with all his things. Oliver was fussy at first but eventually settled. I fed him, changed him, and got him to sleep. He woke up twice during the night. By morning, I was exhausted but also felt something I hadn't felt before. Like I was actually his parent, not just someone fighting to see him. Ashley messaged me multiple times during that first night asking for photos and updates. I sent them. She called at 10 p.m. saying she couldn't sleep without knowing he was okay. I understood her anxiety but also recognized she needed to learn to trust me with him. When Donna picked Oliver up the next day, she said Ashley had cried the entire time he'd been gone. Donna said Ashley admitted she'd been wrong to try to keep me away. But Ashley still wouldn't speak to me directly. The second overnight visit went smoother. Oliver seemed more comfortable. Ashley messaged less. By the third visit, she only messaged once to say goodnight. Now we're in week 3 of the arrangement. Oliver has stayed with me 6 times. Each time gets a little easier. Next month, it increases to 3 nights per week. I've learned his routine. I know how he likes to be held when he's fussy. I know which formula he tolerates best. I'm becoming his dad in the practical sense. Ashley and I still don't speak much. Everything goes through text messages or through Donna. Donna has become the unofficial mediator. She does the handovers most of the time. When Ashley has done handovers, she barely makes eye contact with me. She hands over Oliver quickly and lists instructions even though I already know his routine. My mum comes over frequently to help. My sister has been teaching me things I never knew about babies. My flat now has baby equipment everywhere. The spare room is fully set up as a nursery. I've even bought a sterilizer and have formula ready at all times. Last week, something small but significant happened. Ashley messaged me asking if I could take Oliver for an extra few hours because she had a job interview. I said yes immediately. She brought him over and for the first time since the court hearing, she looked at me properly. She said, "Thank you." I said I hope the interview went well. She got the job. She starts next month working part-time in a supermarket. I think Ashley is finally accepting that this is how things are now. We're not together. We're not friends. But we're both Oliver's parents and we have to make this work for him. People ask me if I regret how everything happened. I don't. I wish Ashley had been honest from the start. I wish she hadn't stolen from me or threatened to keep me from Oliver. I wish we could have worked out an arrangement without going to court. But given who she turned out to be, I think this is the best outcome. Oliver is healthy. He's gaining weight properly. He smiles now. He makes little sounds. When I hold him, he grabs my finger. He's starting to recognize my face and calms down when I pick him up. That's all that matters. In 3 months, there will be another court review. By then, Oliver will be with me 4 nights per week. I'll have him half the time. I never thought I'd be a single dad sharing custody of a 4-month-old, but here we are. I'm done fighting with Ashley. I'm done being angry about what she did. I've got what I was fighting for. I have my son in my life legally and permanently. Ashley can't threaten to take that away anymore. I've got my name on his birth certificate. I've got a custody order. I've got a relationship with my son. That's where I'm leaving this. No dramatic ending. No reconciliation. No revenge. Just a dad trying his best for his kid while dealing with a difficult co-parent. It's not the story I wanted, but it's the one I've got.